There's the object.
Okay.
Okay. And go ahead.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Christine, and today I'm going to be talking about El Santo Niño de Atocha, or in English, the Holy Child of Atocha. By a show of hands, how many of you have been in a spot where you're like, oh my God, only a miracle can help me? Well, a lot of us have. So I'm here today to tell you about this little miracle worker named El Santo Niño de Atocha, or the Holy Child of Atocha. I have actually lived through one of his miracles being fulfilled. A lot of people may not believe in it, but I do. I'm sure many of us have gone through tough times and asked for help or looked for help, maybe in someone human or maybe not in someone human. So today I will be sharing with you a brief history or story of this particular saint and how it is important in my life. So first I will tell you a brief story about El Santo Niño. His story is actually a simple one. It starts in Spain, and it was a time many years ago when people were imprisoned for their faith. The prisoners weren't allowed to have visitors. Only children under the age of 12 were allowed to come in, feed their loved ones, and then they'd have to go. The prisoners weren't fed by the jailers, so if they didn't have kids in their family, they weren't going to eat. Their family members started looking for help, and in that time, faith was a big deal. So they went to what is believed to be his mother, Our Lady of Atocha, and asked for help. And shortly after all these people got together and asked for help, stories started circulating about this little boy pilgrim, that went through the jails anonymously and fed these hungry prisoners. And so it started getting all kinds of people believing. So hundreds of years later, the settlers in Zacatecas, Mexico, built a church in Plateros that in devotion to this little saint. I actually have, become part of this culture through my husband. He was given this by his sister, who took it to Plateros. It was blessed, and now it's in our family. It was a gift for his birthday. So now that I told you a little history about this little saint, I'm going to tell you why it's important in my family. We have an amazing amount of faith in this little saint. I actually was able to visit Plateros and see the church that was built in his honor, and the walls are covered, layer after layer after layer of thank you notes from all these believers. A true testament to what this little saint has done. And personally, I was pregnant last year with my second child, and at 8 months, doctors called and said, you have a liver condition. And this condition puts you at risk to have a stillbirth. And if you don't know what a stillbirth means, is your baby stops breathing, heart stops, everything stops. But you have to give birth to, in essence, a dead child. So I couldn't do anything. I was stuck in a spot where I felt helpless. So I went and I prayed. Amazingly, 2 weeks, the longest 2 weeks of my life, I gave birth to a healthy little boy. No complications. So some may say, oh, it's destiny. I call it faith. So let me close by highlighting what I spoke to you about. I spoke to you about this little miracle worker named Santo Niño de Atocha, or the Holy Child, and I familiarized you with his history and why it's significant in my life. So if ever you feel stuck in a tough spot, don't be afraid to ask for help, because you never know who's listening.